Welcome to TMZ Live. Harvey Levin here.
Charles here.
So Ryan Reynolds has gone to court to ask the judge in the lawsuit. Fishing?
He's waving.
Waving the white flag, you think?
One of those flags.
No, that's not. It's the exact opposite. He is telling a judge, look, I should not be sued for anything I did in connection with the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni war. He is saying that there is no valid legal claim and is asking the judge to dismiss him from the lawsuit that Justin filed partly against him.
Right, and he's saying, look, all I was doing was publicly defending my wife, but that doesn't rise to the point of suing me. That's why I was saying he's waving the white flag.
But it depends.
In a way, he wants out of the legal war that is going on between Justin and Blake.
Well, here's how they agree. That both sides agree now that Ryan was defending his wife. The issue is, did that defense ever cross the line?
Right.
That's
well,
the point.
Ryan says very firmly in his request for this dismissal that he did not cross any legal lines. In the documents, he says, Baldoni's thin-skinned outrage over a movie character, the satirical woke nice pool, does not even pretend to be tied to any actual legal claims. While Mr. Baldoni may not appreciate being called a predator, those hurt feelings do not give rise to legal claims because name-calling does not reflect a fact but a non-verifiable view.
So there are 2 points here. One is the movie where Ryan did mock
Deadpool and Wolverine.
where Ryan did mock Baldoni in a very oblique way, and everybody said, is it about him? Well, he's admitting it's about him now.
He is admitting that. And by the way, I said this months ago, and I maintain this, that would have been such an inside joke.
Nobody would have got it.
Both movies came out at the same time.
Nobody would have got it.
So only the people like Blake would know, Justin would know, but the general audience didn't know that that was mocking him until everything blew up.
Now, there's a second part to it, and I think a more serious part to it, because that's just parody. I mean, I don't see where that goes. When he calls him a predator and all the other things that are alleged in the lawsuit against Ryan Reynolds, that's a whole other Oprah. That is a whole other Oprah where the...
the predator, he's saying that Justin doesn't like the fact that the nice pool character was presented as sort of a predator.
But right. Using that term...
So Ryan using that term.
Ryan using that term is, I think, part of this lawsuit. But it goes way beyond that parody. It goes to what Baldoni is alleging, which is Ryan Reynolds helped engineer what they say is a smear campaign against Justin Baldoni.
Tried to destroy his career by, leaning on his agents because they were at the same talent agency, and Justin was dropped by his agents, and he feels it's because Blake, that Ryan
Bigfooted him.
Right. He said, I'm the bigger star. Is it going to be me or Baldoni? And they
chose Ryan Reynolds, which you would kind of assume they would.
Right.
So Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Brian Friedman, had a thing or two to say about this motion to dismiss on Ryan Reynolds' part.
Right. He said, after lighting a match, Mr. Reynolds now seeks to run from the flames. It won't work. The Wayfarer party's claims against him are real, and they are serious. Mr. Reynolds can appear on as many sketch shows as he wants and feebly try to make light of his current situation, but we will not stop until he is held accountable for his actions. So I think they're opposing it?
Yes.
Yeah, and if you're Blake in this situation, I mean, are you upset? I mean, I know it's more about her and Justin, but if your husband's asking to be withdrawn from it, what's going through her mind right now?
I don't think he's not saying he's not defending her anymore. He's saying, look, I'm not, legally speaking, right. I have not done anything.
And also, I'm not sure this is more about Blake Lively than Ryan Reynolds anymore. I think that
the whole thing is more about Ryan and not about Blake?
Did Blake get him fired from William Morris?
I mean...
I just think, look, I'm not citing one way or the other. I think
Justin thinks the beef started with Blake. It was about Blake.
Well, of course it started with Blake.
Right.
But then the question is, how did Ryan jump in, and did Ryan engineer? Because remember, at least according to Justin, Ryan was hot as hell, as Raquel would say, when they had that meeting at the penthouse.
By the way, it's hot as fish grease.
Hot as fish grease. I was trying to think of what it was. Sorry about that. But that, you know, when Ryan Reynolds stepped in and was angry at him over a script and everything else.
Right.
And then the Taylor Swift thing came up and everything else. I think Ryan Reynolds is playing a bigger part, at least as far as Justin Baldoni is concerned, than you think. I really do.
Well, so clearly he doesn't want Ryan to get out of this, to be let out of this lawsuit.
He's not going to let him out of the lawsuit. I mean, this.
You don't think a judge?
No, I know why. Because look, what judges do is they look at questions of law. Is there a question of law here where Ryan should not be in the lawsuit? This is a question of fact, where you have to look at the things he did and then make a judgment. Questions of fact are for the jury to decide. Questions of law are for the judge to decide. This is clearly a question of fact, and they always file these motions to dismiss. It's not going to be granted.
Virginia from California, and I used to be a huge Ryan Reynolds fan. I loved his movies, but after everything unfolded with his wife and now trying to dismiss the case, it seems like the situation got out of hand. He can't control it, and now he wants to dismiss it. No, you made your bed, you lie in it.
Well, it ain't going to get dismissed. We're going to move on.
Yes. Well, meanwhile, Hailey Bieber wants to go to court and very well might do that against fans who prior to this
there are a lot of litigious celebrities.
Yeah. Well, you know, lawyers. It's how you guys make your money here.
You guys.
Yeah.
What case have I represented somebody in lately? Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. You stay doing what you're doing. But yes, Hailey Bieber is upset at some fans who prior to this might have been totally anonymous. But she has been seeing things posted about her online. In particular, there is a series going around where it basically lays out a conspiracy theory that says that Hailey was stalking Justin for years in order to snare him in her web and eventually marry him. This seems ridiculous, and why would Hailey Bieber pay any attention to it? She is now, and she says what we're told by people close to her is that it has to do with the fact that she and Justin are now parents. And this is bothering her a lot more.
Yeah, I'm being told that she is extremely upset about like all these TikTokers and YouTubers trying to post videos about her that I'm told are not true. And look, ever since
what's not true? You got to explain.
She's not a stalker of Justin Bieber to start off with that.
But are the allegations though, Charlie, about her going when she was 13 years old,
showing up at his events?
That's not a stalker. That's
no.
Like in a rich family where her dad would go to events and she's there. That's not being a stalker. That's just living your life with your famous family. So, things like that. And then, this YouTuber had also claimed that she used her connections purposefully to get Justin Bieber to marry her. I think the reality here is Justin could literally be with anybody he wants, but chooses to be with Hailey Bieber. Like to pretend that Hailey has put some witchcraft on him to be with her is like a little out there. She is taking these very seriously, and she's been talking with a very famous attorney, Lisa Moore, who, if you guys remember, Lisa represented Cardi B in the defamation case against Tasha K, which, by the way, Cardi B won big in that case. So look, is there defamation here? That's going to have to be something that Lisa figures out.
So
what is
the defamation? Is it they called her a stalker? Because it seems like, look,
if she actually did show up at the places.
If she showed up at the places, it's a love story.
But calling her a stalker is...
No, I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
But
then the bigger thing is, what are the damages?
By the way, the witchcraft is ridiculous.
Yes,
because nobody believes it.
Ridiculous.
It's not defamation.
Right. But what would her damages be? You know what I mean? And what would Hailey's damages be?
Yeah, I mean...
I guess if it affected her business, but I can't see that that's happening.
See, if I were representing the TikTokers, what I would say is there are two ways of using the term stalker. One is the legal sense, and in the legal sense, she's not. But in the the person in the street sense, if it's true, and again, I don't know, that she was going to these events, wanting to get his attention, wanted to meet him, and everything else. It's sort of like street talk of what it is. I mean.
Well, does street talk work in court? Counseling?
What I'm saying is that there are two different ways of looking at that word. One is the loose way, and one is the legal way. And there's, you know, what I would argue if I was arguing on the Tic Tac side is that they're not talking about the legal definition of a stalker threatening somebody, you know, or whatever.
Right. We just meant it colloquially.
Yeah,
like,
and the evidence we back it.
As we kids say on the street, Your Honor.
Exactly. No, exactly.
Hi, my name is Savannah. I'm from Baltimore. And I think that taking the legal route might be a mistake for Hailey. I think that it could open her up to a lot more scrutiny, like it has for Blake Lively. And I don't think that taking the legal route is going to stop people from expressing their opinions online. This is kind of what comes with being married to the most sought-after pop star in the world, who's also kind of a controversial figure at the same time. So, and then I think it also begs the question of, you know, who exactly are you going to sue, right? The entire internet's talking about it. So you kind of have to sue the whole internet at this point. I think, truthfully, the best option for her is to just ignore the drama and continue living her best life.
That may be sage advice.
You were down with all of that except for the living her best life part.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, the JFK files finally released. Tens of thousands of pages of documents. What have we learned from these documents and why a member of the Kennedy family is pissed about the release? Nearly 80,000 documents. They're still, as we speak, releasing more documents related to the JFK assassination, as President Trump promised. He said he wanted all these things declassified, and they are making them available now in the National Archives. It's so much material, and
Which makes you wonder why it took 60 years for them
why
to finally
it took so long to
release
go
it.
through it. Well, there's someone who is really upset about the release of these documents, and that is President Kennedy's grandson, Jack Schlossberg, who is the son of Caroline Kennedy. He says that the release of these documents is very upsetting to him because there was never a heads up from the Trump administration, from the White House.
Really?
They did not give the family, the Kennedy family, I know what you're thinking.
He said it out loud. I mean, he said
Many
it
times. Said it
He said it
before
while
he was elected.
he said it
when he was
after he was
elected.
in office.
Inauguration, when he signed the executive order.
We all knew this was coming.
It was supposed to come out a few weeks ago, and there was a lot of talk about it then. But I guess
It doesn't make sense. Because
it doesn't make sense.
What was he going to do? Well, he was
unless
going
he
to
wanted a personal phone call from the president.
He's going to read 80,000 pages before it comes out. It's not even come out.
This is what Jack Schlossberg had to say about the document release.
You're better than this. This is stupid. There's so much actual news going on. Why are you covering this? At least report that something happened. I love you, Harry Anton. You're really smart. Why are you guys covering this? I love you, Aaron Burnett. You're really smart. Why are you covering this? Why are you covering this? Stop. This is why takes hold, because you guys cover it over and over and over again.
Cover the release of the documents?
He was upset that CNN was covering the fact that so that seemed like that was just as the documents were released and CNN was talking about
Why
it.
are you covering the release of the documents that relate to the assassination of the President of the United States?
Look, I think that he would he wanted that personal phone call that you mentioned, but for him to say, ask rhetorically why the news media is covering the biggest document release that in my lifetime, certainly.
Which, by the way, and may I say, Jason, one of the most important events in my lifetime.
Yeah, that's right. And maybe they'll turn out to be a nothing burger, which is, possible, I guess. There could be nothing new in these documents. But nevertheless, the fact they're coming out, the fact they're being released is a huge, huge story.
Of course it is.
It's just, it's odd that we're even talking about talking about it.
Let's talk a little bit about whatever substance we have here, because so far, the stuff that's been reviewed does not create, there's no smoking gun.
There's been some, they've unredacted a lot of documents that were already previously out, but they've removed some redaction that had been there basically to protect members of the CIA or the FBI or people on the Warren Commission who were the investigators for the Warren Commission.
So, look,
but,
if I may just...
But as far as the actual assassination and who did it, so far, no one has turned up anything substantial in these documents.
And they
Again, it is 80,000
And they may
pages.
not, and I don't know whether they will or won't. But I will say this. This is something that I have been really, really involved in for decades. You know, when I was 15 years old, I read all 26 volumes of the Warren Commission report. I was just obsessed with it because it was such a profound event. And I got to say, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind there was a conspiracy. Lee Harvey Oswald was involved, but there were others involved too. I think there's a lot of smoke about the CIA, which President Kennedy wanted to all but dismantle after the Bay of Pigs fiasco. And at the time, the CIA was a renegade operation. And the proof of that is the Bay of Pigs operation itself. So there's a lot of smoke here. The Warren Commission report was a whitewash. And, you know, ignoring dozens of witnesses
maybe
should have been called. It was a whitewash.
I know you're saying it's a whitewash, but is it possible that, and let's take your theory at its and say that it's true, that there was a conspiracy. Well, a really well done conspiracy wouldn't be found out, right? I don't think maybe it's just they didn't find. I don't think it's as well done. Smoking guns.
I don't think it's as well done as you think. I think there is evidence of 4 shots fired. Can't get into it right now.
And so
but you know my theory on
yes,
this.
I do.
And
in addition to the conspiracy theory to kill the president, you're saying there was a conspiracy theory to completely ignore the facts of the case.
Let me just put it simply. If somebody fires a shot from behind that is a kill shot, your head should go this way. His head flung backward.
Long before I met you, I watched Oliver Stone's movie. And
long before I met you, there was Mark
Lane
on the phone calling. That's right.
You were a different 16-year-old, man.
I understand where he's coming from, the grandson, because you want to see that grandfather's assassination just posted about, read about. So I get where he's coming from. It is in public news and stated that it will be coming out many times. So you should prepare yourself for it. But right now it's like, you know, I can get the, it could be, you know, a bit sad just to see your grandfather's legacy just blast like that.
It doesn't impact his legacy.
No.
He was in a car. It does not impact his legacy in that sense.
And it wasn't like there's some new gory detail that's coming out. All that has been out there already.
We will see. Okay, we're going to move on.
Yes, to Tina Fey, who has an interesting take on entertainers and showbiz in general and how people make their money. There are going to be a lot of people who will find this interesting. People like Rihanna. People like George Clooney. She says, what's the deal with all these side hustles? I believe Tina Fey herself has side hustle.
She does booking.com.
Okay, that's not does that count as a side hustle?
I think it's a side hustle. Well, I mean, why not?
Here's what she said on Amy Poehler's podcast.
I don't waste money, but I don't get excited about money. If I'm safe and I have enough money to live, I have a problem with rich people having a side hustle.
Yeah. You mean like a podcast or something?
No, you're doing work. I'm saying if you sold like, where would my line be for you? Where would I draw the line?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like if I had a rosé.
You know what I mean? If you already have like $200 million and you're like, also, I need you to.
But Tina, this is where you have to learn from Gen Z. I'm sorry, and we have to.
They don't care. They don't judge it.
They don't judge it.
I judge it.
I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it. It's
Gwyneth Paltrow would also have an issue with this?
Well, but it's like she's saying $200 million. So where is the line? I mean, is the line at $100 million? Is the line at $2 million?
I believe Tina went on to say something like she just doesn't really like money that much, something to that effect.
Okay, well, then not her thing. I mean, but she has it. But if somebody, I don't know, if somebody says, yeah, I have, $100 million, but they want to buy a yacht or whatever else, and they, you know.
She said something that was interesting. She said to Amy, she said, no, but this is
different.
Or
make money to give to charity.
She said, this is different because you are doing work. So maybe what she's saying is she doesn't like people sort of putting their name on something.
She did that with booking.com.
No, but that's different.
Why?
She was acting in a.
It doesn't even have to be about. It's not even about money. I think anybody who has $200 million is clearly a very focused, driven person. You have to be that kind of person to make $200 million. They get bored. If you've accomplished that much, if you're that successful at the top of your game, you've made that much. Maybe you want to do something else. You want to branch out and try something because you just That's who you are.
And one other thing, Eric, there are people who made that kind of money in Silicon Valley and they're 26 years old. Okay, well,
they should stop. That's it.
And do
Hang
what?
It up.
Lay on
Retire,
the beach and lay on the beach for 60 years.
Yep. You heard what Tina said? Don't even start thinking about a podcast out there.
We're taking a break.
All right. When we come back, it has happened. Meagan Good and Jonathan Majors made good on their promise, their engagement. They got married. Why the secrecy and why so quick? Well, some people have theories, but they are actually married, they say. We'll tell you how it went down when we come back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
Justin Timberlake made Portland kids' dream come true by joining a bike bus ride. And they always listen to Justin Timberlake.
Cry me a river when they fall.
It's TMZ.
Well, Jonathan Majors and Meagan Good are no longer engaged. They're married.
Yeah.
They actually got married. They had been talking about making the wedding plans and how it was all going. We had spoken to them at different times that we'd gotten them out, and they said, yeah, it's all going great. They never let on that this was going to be a spur-of-the-moment wedding. They said they got married yesterday. I don't know if that was the plan all along. But
yeah, they may have had a plan.
Maybe that was the plan all along. They just weren't.
Small wedding.
But this is what Jonathan had to say about it today on the Sherry Shepherd Show.
I said to Meagan yesterday, I said, today might be the happiest day of my life. Yeah, I love that woman so much. So how did it happen? My mother married us yesterday. Her mother was there. Her mother was there, and we finally got to do it. But it was always a plan, you know, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
This does not surprise me at all because Meagan has been very vocal about, you know, not having the necessary support that she would have liked to have from a lot of her friends and family. She said that not a lot of people thought that she should be with Jonathan. So they've kind of kept their relationship on the DL. However, when we do see them out in public, they are very loud about how much they love each other. So this is not surprising to me that they wanted to keep this wedding or this marriage very intimate, do something with just the people that actually support them and support their relationship. Like he said, his mother is a pastor, so what better time to do it? You've already got the blessing from Megan's dad twice, he even said. You've already got rings that you guys have gotten engraved, so why not do it? The people that love us are here and they support us. Let's do it.
So many people were saying that she was just a prop for his trial, that they were going to break up.
To try and rehabilitate his image. Of course, those haters haven't gone anywhere. There are some people who are saying they think that they did this very quickly because he has a movie that's coming out and they were trying to push down any other headlines that might come out about him. So, you know what? There's some people you're just not going to convince.
Hey, my name's Dwight. I'm from New York City. And I just think the timing of the whole relationship has been strange and a little bit off. You decided to show up with this woman at court for an assault against his ex. And I think that that was just bad judgment on his part, but also on her part. And I also think as someone who stars in a show about being a girl's girl, to see her supporting someone who was accused of assault feels strange. And I love Meagan Good, but I think the whole situation is a bit odd. And I also think that race plays a part in it, right? Your ex was this white woman who you say, you know, attacked you, and you also you wanted her to be your Coretta Scott King. And then to turn around and marry a black woman, it just seems strange and like bad timing. But
well, the Coretta Scott King, I get you on the trial. He really won that trial because what they were trying to convict him on really was about what supposedly happened inside that vehicle, and the jury said not guilty on that.
This is what he was actually.
That's what he was convicted on. The push inside, and that he never would have been. He never would have been tried just for that. He was tried for what she said happened inside.
Yeah.
Okay, we're taking a break.
All right. When we come back, Jackie Robinson removed from a government website, a website page that was honoring his military service.
And he wasn't the only one.
Yeah, a lot of American heroes removed from Pentagon website pages. Why is this happening? Why does it continue to happen? And the Trump administration says, oops. Well, we're going to be joined by a congressman, big supporter of President Trump. He will be here to talk about what's going on. Congressman Comer will be here. Well, the Department of Defense made what a lot of people see as an odd move in their continuing efforts to erase all signs of DEI in the military. As you know, President Trump signed an executive order the day he was inaugurated saying that there is no more DEI hiring in the federal government. In particular, new Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has overseen a wide-sweeping effort on websites to remove things. The latest one really caught people's attention because, I will say this, President Trump has spoken glowingly about Jackie Robinson in the past. So it struck people as really odd that the Department of Defense website removed a page that talked about Jackie Robinson's military service.
But it wasn't just him. I mean, there were things with Medgar Evers, who was also a decorated World War II veteran, an icon in the civil rights movement, and that article was scrubbed as well. There's a similar thing with a Native American, very famous.
Code Talkers.
Very famous one. The Air Force website deleted a page for Women's History Month. There were other things as well.
Last month there was the Tuskegee Airmen.
And the Tuskegee
now,
Airmen.
Some of these things have been restored, and the Trump administration has said these were AI. Basically, they're using AI to sweep these sites. But why are they even being taken off at all is what we want to get into. Joining us right now is Republican Congressman from Kentucky, James Comer, who is also the chairman of the Oversight Committee, and he's joining us right now. Congressman, welcome to TMZ Live.
Thanks for having me.
We really appreciate you coming on. Look, I think there are a couple of things, but for starters, a lot of people are saying they're kind of tired of hearing the word oops. We made a mistake. Rather than doing this broad sweep whenever something comes up with black or gay or Native American, rather than doing a broad sweep and then saying, oh, yeah, we made a mistake there, we'll bring it back, why aren't they doing it the proper way?
Well, what they're doing is what you said earlier. They're using AI and the algorithm to come in and try to detect what they put in with the formula as anything pertaining to DEI hiring. And the concern with respect to the Pentagon is that people were being promoted based on things other than their merit. And that was something that Donald Trump campaigned on. Obviously, it's a divisive issue. There are people that agree with that, people that don't agree with that. But at the end of the day, he's doing what he said he was going to do. Now, when you try to take on something as vast as the government, specifically the Pentagon, and you have that one formula entered in for the AI to detect, you're gonna make some mistakes, and I think it's normal to go back in and restore the mistakes. They made the mistake for pulling the Jackie Robinson thing off. They told me they're going to restore that. Obviously, the Tuskegee Airmen, that's one of the most famous parts of our military, regardless of race or anything else. I mean, that everyone's heard that story. We studied that in elementary school where I went in Kentucky. So they're restoring that. They're trying to do their best, but one of the mistakes that I've heard President Trump say he made when he first got elected the first time was that he took things in steps. And a lot of times what he wanted to achieve didn't get achieved because he was always battling with the bureaucracy. So they're coming in this other time. There's going to be mistakes made, but to the president's credit, when they make a mistake, they say, oh, we made a mistake, we're going to try to fix it.
Congressman, I don't want to debate DEI and the president's executive order at all, but I have to say that when I see these things, I know that they say, look, we're going to go back and we're going to correct it. I wonder why are they even applying this AI program to things that have happened already? That this is history that actually happened. So why is there even an effort to try and remove anything from the archives?
Well, look, I agree with you. I don't think you should erase anything pertaining to history, and I don't think they intended to do that. Going back to his first administration, the mistakes that he has publicly said he made was he depended on the bureaucracy and the bureaucrats to comply with his executive orders, and in many cases they didn't do that. They did not do that at the EPA, they did not do that at the Department of Energy, and they did not do that at the Pentagon. So what he's trying to do this time is, and with the help of Musk, is use AI technology to on day one eliminate that. Now it's everything that I've heard Pete Hegseth say, and I haven't talked to him specifically about this, but I've seen interviews in anticipation of this interview, interviews that he did, that they're trying to restore anything that pertained to the history. They just want to make sure that from this point on, the military people are being promoted on merit. There was concern with some of the subcontractors that were applying to be minority contractors, that maybe they weren't minority contractors, maybe they weren't even veterans, kind of like what they're looking into the Social Security, or people drawing Social Security that aren't alive or aren't legal citizens. So there's just a lot of cleaning up to do in the federal government. They're trying to use this AI technology. It's new technology, and it's going to make mistakes. But I believe they're sincere when they say they want to restore anything pertaining to Black history or women history or anything else that was previously on the website.
So let me tell you, the fundamental problem I have with this is that I get it that it's AI, but you have to input something to get AI to respond. And unless I'm really on the wrong step here, somebody is typing in the word Black, Native American, women, gay, and then just saying, just find them all. That feels racist and homophobic to me. Well, I mean, why? I mean, the premise is almost that anybody Black, Native American, Latino, gay, whatever, they can't have gotten what they got on the merits because they're less than. And just typing those words in to get that kind of sweep feels racist to me.
Yeah, I don't know what they typed in. I think that's a good question. I think they should have to answer that. But at the end of the day, if you look at President Trump's record, Pete Hegseth's record, I mean, before Hedgepeth became Secretary of Defense, he had his weekend show on Fox, and he had, minority partners there with him on the show. I mean, I don't think there's any history of racism with anything that Donald Trump's done or any of his administration done, and they certainly don't want to portray that. But with respect to DEI, look, I share their belief that it's wrong to discriminate. And fortunately, the federal law prohibits anyone from discriminating. If you discriminate against someone in the military or in any government agency based on race or sex, then that employee's gonna win a lawsuit, and the person that discriminated is going to be held accountable. So there are protections in place. You have personnel boards in every government agency. And what our concern was, and mine as well, with DEI is this is an added layer of unnecessary bureaucracy that is unneeded. It was costly and unneeded, and it was spooking agencies. They were trying to dictate policy, to do just the opposite of what the rules and the laws are. The rules and laws are you can't discriminate based on sex or race or anything like that. And there was a fear that DEI was doing just the opposite. So I don't know what they plugged in. I think that's a good question. I think they should answer that question. I think if enough people ask them that question, they will answer the question. But at the end of the day, where the mistakes were made with respect to scrubbing the Tuskegee Airmen and Jackie Robinson, they publicly stated they're in the process of trying to get that put back up. Remember, they've terminated a lot of employees in these government agencies. There are a lot of government agencies that aren't happy.
Congressman, that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, that's a whole other issue, because there are things they say they made a mistake on and restored with USAID, and like Ebola, it hasn't been restored. So there are still problems with it.
Yeah, definitely a lot to be fine-tuned, to say the least.
But we really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Appreciate your show. I watch it all the time.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
Okay. I just, you're right. I mean, the program, because we've seen this with AI programs, like there are things that can be
You plug something in, and why that?
You're right.
Okay, we're taking a break.
Okay, when we come back, Elon Musk takes another shot, this time from former vice presidential candidate Tim Walz. What he had to say about Elon's riches.
And how Elon responded to Walz.
Man. It's one thing to be bitter and to be upset about how some things have turned out, but when you share your sour grapes with the world, sometimes they get thrown back at your face. And I think Tim Walz is discovering this because he has now waged a war of words against Elon Musk, and Elon Musk has accepted the challenge. So This all started.
I'm not sure this is Kendrick Drake where one person won this.
Not yet.
I don't think
Not
so.
yet. But I don't know. You don't know how long this is going to go on. You think it's over?
I don't think the
Think
whole
it's a
thing
one and
is.
done?
I don't think any of this is over.
Well, Tim Walz was making a speech where he was talking clearly about what the Trump administration has been doing since he took office. Obviously, Tim Walz and Kamala Harris lost that election, so you'd expect him to feel some sort of way about this, not to mention just policy-wise.
So is it bitter grapes or just whiny?
Well, you can decide. Here's what Walz has to say.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, and take out, just telling you.
Well, as you know, Tesla stock has taken a huge tumble since Doge fired up.
Yes.
Huge tumble.
How pathetic of a guy who wanted to be vice president of this country to literally root for the downfall of the seventh biggest American company, a company that employs something like 70,000 American workers, a company of which hundreds of millions of Americans own stock in. Elon Musk is going to be okay no matter what happens with Tesla, but it's normal people who would be hurt. I cannot believe that those words would come out of his mouth.
That's a total fair point.
Well, that is one way to go back at him, Mike. Elon Musk chose a different route. This was his response after seeing what Tim Walz said. He said, "Sometimes when I need a little boost, I look at the J.D. Vance portrait in the White House and thank the Lord."
So, okay, we're getting into playground territory here.
The whole thing is playground
territory.
But
I will say, Babcock, I think you make a really good point. Yeah. The only problem I have with that point is when the President of the United States turns into a used car salesman right in the driveway of the White House and starts, touting how great.
I already know what Mike is going to say to you.
How great the cars.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
I missed the TMZ Live episode where we crushed Biden for doing that with Jeep last year.
Well, the only difference is
that
there was nobody
have
from
the chairman of Jeep working in his administration.
In the administration. And here you've got Elon.
That's what makes it different. This is the problem with having Elon Musk in your administration.
And Babcock, it's not just the administration. The top campaign donor for Donald Trump. That is, you got to admit, that's a fair point.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that's a fair criticism for certain. I do find it completely shocking, though, that we have heard about climate change for years. We need EVs, and they hate Donald Trump and Elon Musk so much that they are burning Teslas in the streets. That's the hatred for these two men. It's remarkable to me.
Hi, this is Jen Trey from Georgia, and I think this is a little comical, if I'm going to be honest. I think although it's a little petty, I think it's something that he wants to get off his chest since they lost the election.
Well, okay. We're not going to solve this. But we are going to take a break.
Are you sure we can't?
I'm positive we're not going to solve this.
Can't. I agree with you.
We're going to take a break.
Which hurts. All right, when we come back, from the people who brought you Jeremy Meeks, remember the hot felon? Well, there is a female counterpart now, the Georgia student who is being on her worst day. Some people say might be her best day. A Georgia college student is making headlines, probably not for anything her parents are very proud of, but, your parents always say, be the best. Well, there's some people who feel that she is among the best when it comes to mugshots.
Maybe the
Lily
best.
Stewart.
Maybe the best.
Lily Stewart. Well, first we'll show you her mugshot, which people are comparing to, you'll remember the name Jeremy Meeks, who people call the hot felon. Well, they think Lily is the female counterpart to that.
She's picture perfect.
Her crime?
Speeding. Speeding once, speeding twice, you're in jail.
Yes. So earlier this month, basically what happened was she got caught speeding 79 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone. So the cop pulls her over, gives her a ticket, and then allegedly what happened was then the cop witnessed a few minutes later her going 85 miles per hour in a different zone, another speeding ticket, which was essentially why she was arrested.
But how did the same cop catch her? Did she double back? Or was he following her?
He might have been following her.
And she didn't know it?
He might have. My guess is that when she was interacting with the cop, he's thinking, she's going to do this again. Because
Based on things she
she's
said.
not taking it real seriously right there.
Yeah, if that's the smile on the mugshot, what was she doing when the cop was
Right.
Totally. But the good news is we spoke to her attorney, and essentially one of the charges have been dropped by the prosecutor. Essentially all she's going to have to do here is basically take like a driving class and do some community service, and she got a ton of viral fame in the meantime.
So the question, can she go 79 in the driver's class?
I would assume not.
What up, though, everybody? It's Mo from Battle Creek, Michigan. And when I read this story, it read like a Chipotle white privilege punch card. Like, even 3 times, you get out of jail free. It's just so weird.
Do you work for Kellogg's? I'm just curious.
Oh, God.
No. I know I have.
Not everybody who lives in Battle Creek has to work for Kellogg's.
I know, but that's all I think of.
I know.
You must be sick of hearing it, but that's all I think of when I hear Battle Creek, right?
Seinfeld put us on the map, so shout out to Jerry.
Fair. Okay, what else you guys want to talk about?
Good afternoon, Mike Gallagher here in Chicago, and we're talking about the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni conversation. It's like month 3, nothing's resolved. We're at a point where Ryan Reynolds is using this as promotion and publicity. I think it's comical. I think this could have been solved with a conversation, maybe a fist fight.
One more.
Hey, it's Matt from Ottawa, Ontario. And I just want to say in regards to Hailey Bieber looking at legal options to silence her online haters, I say good for Hailey. She's put up with so much for so long. This is going to send a message that she's tired of it. I feel like she doesn't need this distraction, but she should be focusing on the well-being of her baby and Justin.
Will a single TikToker listen?
Probably not, but
yes.
she's going to send her message.
Okay. We are going to take a break.
All right, when we come back, turnabout is fair play. Former First Lady Michelle Obama told us what her big pet peeve is with the former president. Well, now Barack gets his say. What Michelle does that really bugs him when we come back. Well, not only did Michelle Obama launch her own podcast, she is doing the podcast circuit. She was on Kylie Kelsey's podcast and opened up about something that she does that really bugs former President Barack Obama, which I think is fair since last week
she talked about him being late.
Right, that he was always late. So here's his comeback, I guess.
Bedtime is the best time of the day. My husband teases me about how early I can go to bed. He just doesn't understand the idea of getting into some good sheets and it's cool. If we've got people in the house, I'm game. I'm there. I'm up. I'm in it. I'm laughing. I'm talking. But, the minute we finish up, I'm just trying not to go to bed before the sun goes down.
What's ideal bedtime?
Man, anytime after dinner.
That's lovely.
Yes, Michelle Obama.
I knew you would love that.
Yes, Michelle Obama.
Oh, by the way, what she basically said was, if we have guests over, I'll stay up for them. It was just him in the house? I don't need to talk to him.
That's exactly what she said. This is why I don't like daylight savings time, because I feel like such a loser.
Because you go to bed when the sun's still up.
Because I go to bed when the sun's still up. We'll see tomorrow.
Perfect for a vampire.